There's nothing to fear but fear itself. That is something to really consider. Because fear is the emotion of avoidance. It is the fight or flight retreat. It is the proverbial I'm not enough. It's the smallness, the helplessness, the powerlessness. And you keep trying to overcome it, disprove it, make it go away, and it just keeps repeating. Because you're in a fight or flight reaction your entire life. You're afraid of not being enough yourself. You see, your ego is ongoingly driving you with fear into avoidance, confusion, into profound attachment. Your fear of disappointment is disability to you. Gut-wrenching fear. Like anxiety, it's not just causing all of your procrastination, avoidance. It's not just sabotaging you, causing your confusion. It's the result and cause of every pattern of behavior that you exhibit. Like if you ever want to know why, you can look back at your life and hindsight's 2020. And then no matter how much you learn, no matter how much you try to prepare, how much you know or understand, that you just keep repeating the same thing. That you're so afraid that you think you need to build a life so that you can avoid the fear, so that you can have enough success to be unjudgeable, to be proven. But you see, your fear causes the exact outcome that you're most avoiding. Like if you're avoiding rejection, if you're afraid of rejection, you're going to get rejected because you're creating the rejection fear and you're projecting it onto other people. And then you're going into anxiety and reduced consciousness. And you're trying to conceal how you feel, and then you're attaching yourself to the other person's emotions, to whether you think they like you or not. And then you need some outcome. Like you need some way of figuring out whether you're safe with them. You need to attach yourself to some goal, to get something from them, to symbolize being safe from rejection. And fear of failure is the same thing. And so your fear of failure causes your failure. And then it reaffirms itself. Because it makes you choke, it makes you avoid, it makes you procrastinate, it makes you feel guilty. It makes you hesitate. It makes you procrastinate. It makes you quit. That when they say the going gets tough, it's the fear that makes it tough. Because when something stops going your way, it's a slippery slope. Because as it starts to slip, you start to get anxious. You start to lose your creativity. You start to get severe anxiety. You start to feel like you need help. You start to suffocate. And then you give up. And then you make that mean something about you. You personalize that. It's not just you failed at that, you're the failure. You're the broken one. You're the not good enough. And so the reason why there's nothing to fear but fear is because fear forces all the patterns of avoidance. And you walk through life trying to avoid things so that you can avoid accountability and responsibility, so that you can avoid expectations. That when someone offers you an opportunity, you get anxious. And when life shows up and maybe presents something, you disqualify yourself and justify it on account of feeling disqualified because you're afraid. Like you need to know with certainty that you could do it before even doing it. And then you want to prepare and prepare and prepare. And so how much of everything that you do is trying to avoid rejection, avoid judgment, avoid failure, avoid people looking at you a particular way, avoid not belonging, avoid abandonment. And then if you look at your abandonment fear, it's the fear of being alone. And so being alone feels abandoned. And so you have it when you're alone, and then you have it when you're in a relationship, because you'll fear abandonment, and then that will keep you glued to someone with no observation whatsoever to the reality of the relationship, because you're so afraid of abandonment that it doesn't even matter who the person is, because the avoidance of abandonment and the comfort of being wanted is what you're looking for. And you think that's love, and so you get breadcrumbed, and it turns off your fear of abandonment because they confirmed your worthiness. And then you think it's their fault. And so the only thing you're looking at is the presence or lack of fear as your only compass in life. You're dominated by the way in which reality seems to define you to yourself. That you're on a yo-yo. One moment, you're validated and good enough. And then the next, what you did yesterday is today's expectation. And it's a restarting cycle, a vicious circle of trying to prove that you're good enough. In every area of your life is a completely different playground. And you're trying to get all your ducks in a row all the time. Because the only way this works is if you get it all perfect. Because you're not perfect yet, so you don't deserve what you want yet. Oh, you can't ask too much out of the other person. You don't want to have too much expectations. Because if they look at you and start judging you, oh, you know how that feels. And so you seek a comfort zone even with people. You lower your expectations to lower your accountability, to lower the threshold of what good enough might look like. And so you seek the comfort of other afflicted people, other people that think they're still broken, still traumatized. And then you wonder, well, why did I get abandoned? Because you don't even look at people. Oh, when you fear rejection, you're not looking at them. You're looking at yourself. That you go through life using the yo-yo of your own self-assessment as the only emotional framework in which you experience other people. You even project yourself onto them and call that empathy. Oh, I put myself in their shoes. And then you wonder why you got betrayed and deceived, because you took what you would feel and you put it onto that actor. Interesting. And so if I ask you, what did you love so much about that soulmate? Or how they made me feel about myself? And so your whole life is just an external validation seeking. That's it. At the mercy of what you have, what you don't have, what happened in your past. You need something good to happen in your future to offset that. And you're willing to sacrifice your whole life for that. And then you're just stuck because you want a comfort zone that doesn't have more risk, but what you have now isn't quite enough. And so you're just like, well, what do I do? And you just stay there, or you go for it. But you see, it has nothing to do with life, because you're not even living life. You're not even present. The only thing that you're doing is talking to yourself in your head, analyzing everything from a standpoint of risk, reaction after reaction after reaction, and then trying to fix all those reactions, trying to take all the not good enoughs and turn them around. And once you get it all done, someday maybe you'll be happy.